Welcome to Orchestrating Success. This is Hugh Ballou, and this episode is about getting in front of people. If you speak or you want to speak, that's how you build your position of influence. On stages, large or small, in front of people, this is where leaders get themselves known, build your sphere of influence. A lot of people think they want to speak. Very few people know how to make it happen. So my guest on this podcast is a new friend who is really dynamic, and she's got 10 secrets to getting booked. If you want to get out there, this is the way to do it. My guest today is Jackie Lapin. Jackie, welcome.
I'm so happy to be here, Hugh. I'm excited to be able to impart something that I hope will help folks.
Well, it'll help them if they do something. And so,
well, and you know, that's one of the first things we're going to talk
about. So before we get into your content here, say a little bit about yourself and how did you develop this expertise that you share with so many people?
Well, believe it or not, I started as one of the first women sports writers in America. And I segued into having one of the largest sports special events and cable TV PR agencies in the country, and you would know my client base. I had Toyota Motorsports and the National Hockey League and the Los Angeles Marathon and Avon and cable networks, and it goes on and on and on like that. And the last thing that I did, and what everybody remembers me for, is I launched the worldwide poker phenomenon with the World Poker Tour. That may be on my epitaph. And so from there, I wrote 2 books in personal growth and started to really decide that my heart was more in serving the conscious messengers of the world, the transformational leaders who were really making the world a better place through helping people individually, helping businesses grow, helping the planet be a better place. So I completely switched my agency over to serving that community. And it really that was what called to my heart. And so I ended up working with such leaders as Don Miguel Ruiz, James Twyman, the Peace Troubadour, Joe Vitale, Denise Lynn, Ariel Ford, Hay House, etc. And I was doing radio media tours where I introduced them to 3,000 personal growth radios, 400 health and wellness radio shows, and 500 podcasts. And I still do those actually all the time. Excuse me.
It chokes me up too. It chokes me up too. Yeah, those are really big names.
Yeah, thank you. But I also work with first-time authors, people all over the map. And many of the folks came to me and said, well, can you book us for speaking engagements? And I thought about it for a little while and decided that we were better served by giving people direct contacts where they could book themselves. And so I started to develop a process to give people the information that would enable them to book themselves, both in speaking engagements, radio shows, podcasts, and virtual summits. And so was born Speakertunity. And so I'm the founder of Speakertunity, and I'll talk a little bit more about that later today. But one of the things that I noticed is that people really need to know a little bit more about what it is that a speaker booker is looking for. So if you're trying to get on other people's stages, you really want to be able to know what those opportunities are and what it is that's going to tune into their wavelength. I'm so sorry.
No, not a problem.
So that's what I set out to do, is to not only give them the opportunities, but tell them a little bit about what they're going to need to know in order to get booked. And so that's what we're going to do today. But so I've been speaking myself. As you know, we were just talking about, I was on several stages in the last couple of weeks. Women's Prosperity Network and a number of others. And so I practice what I preach. And I reach out to people to propose that I present to their communities. And that's what I'm going to offer here.
Yeah. And you and I, that's really great. you and I connected on LinkedIn.
Mm-hmm.
And I was out there finding people that had a sphere of influence. I was looking for podcasters, and you said, I don't have a podcast, but I got this. And what got your attention about me that you wanted
Well,
to?
I'm looking for podcasters to tell my community about leading podcasters. So you were a perfect match. We each had something that the other one was looking for. And so, and I believe that, that someone who has a message is holding back from the world if they're not delivering their message. You're cheating the world of what you can offer. And so the more people that I can find like yourself so that people can deliver those messages, the more I can empower others to help make this world a better place. So you are a beautiful grace, great grace and opportunity for people.
Well, I do have a following, and I'm happy to share this really good information. I can't wait. Let's get into the content. We've tempted people with it. Let's give them the hard content now. And I'm going to take notes. So if you hear a little bit of clicking, I'm sorry, I'm taking notes.
Well, these are the 10 secrets successful speakers use to keep their calendar booked year round. So I'm going to do them in order. We're going to do a countdown. And so we're going to do number 10 first. And number 10 is you have to actually commit time to booking. So I recommend that you spend 3 hours every week on your booking process. If you can't do the time, you can't earn the dime.
Ooh, good.
And part of that is you also have to be smart with your selection. You don't want to go for mega speaking engagements when you're in the beginning of your journey. You want to go for the low-hanging fruit, the kind of opportunities that you know you can get. You want to go for local opportunities initially, or within your industry, things where you know that people are actually likely to put you on the stage. Another reason that you want to do that is because you want to start developing your signature speech, and you want to sort of test it. And if you're not really yet to the point when it's doing what it should, you don't want to do that on a big stage. You want to do that on smaller stages, and you can see what works and what doesn't work, and then you can work up. So the best thing is, and most speakers know, that you have to focus on the market where you can actually start getting opportunities. So that's secret number 1. Secret number 2 is that you don't want to turn your nose up at speaking engagements that are considered unpaid rather than paid. Most people want to think, oh, I want to go out and speak and get paid. Well, there's a lot of issues with that. One, they are few and far between. Those are much, much tougher to get. You want to take advantage of the opportunities of what people would call unpaid, but actually you can actually look at them as speak to enroll, where you're speaking in front of a group and you're trying to enroll them in something that you're doing. You want to either get their opt-in, you want them to opt into your list. You want to sell them something. You want to get them to come to another workshop. So I call it speak to enroll. You can also call it fee waived speaking engagements, because you say, all right, well, this was my normal fee, but I'm going to waive it for you because I want to speak to your organization. And so you've kind of established that, yes, you're a professional speaker, that you earn money, but you're willing to speak to them because you really want this audience. So that's really an important definition. And some of the, and what you'll really find is that people who are using speaking to fill their clientele or to grow their business or to change more lives, they're really, you can actually make more money doing speak to enroll than you can on a paid engagement.
Mm-hmm.
If you do the numbers, and most professional speakers will tell you this, and even people that get paid, they would actually prefer to be on a speak to enroll stage because the number that they can make is much greater in the outcome. If you know how to sell, and there are lots of wonderful speaker teachers. And in fact, on Speakertunity, we have a great resource page where we provide speaker trainers, and people like yourself can have colleagues that you would recommend. If you can speak to sell, if you're good at it, if you are matched to the right audience, if you have a price point that's matched to that audience, the upside is very unlimited. But when you talk about a paid engagement, you're looking at a set amount of money, and a lot of times they will not let you engage with the audience after the fact. So you lose all the benefit of having all of those people there and getting them to follow you. And they also limit your ability to sell from the stage most of the time. It's your one and done. So there are other factors involved, one of which is getting those paid engagements is a very high barrier. You really have to be very good. You have to have had a track record. You have to when they're evaluating who they're going to put on their paid stages, they want to see who you've spoken to before. They want to know that you've had good success. And they are going to expect a high level of performance out of you. And if you're not yet at that stage, well, a couple things can happen. One, if you keep trying for the big high paid events and you don't get them, it's going to discourage you. And frankly, you don't want to get out when you're starting to speak and feel like you're getting a lot of rejections. My goal here is for you to get a lot of acceptances early on, build your confidence, and then go on from there. If you're getting deflated each time, you're just going to walk away. And another factor is, you would rather be on somebody's stage who you can wow and instead of getting on a big stage where they have lots of people and then not be at the top of your game yet, that isn't going to serve you well going forward. So
this is really good stuff. Part of what I bring to people who are developing their business is my skill as a musical conductor, as you know. And one of the things that conductors do, musicians do generally, actors, we rehearse. And speakers need to do the same thing. And what's coming to mind is Zig Ziglar said he had to give a speech 1,000 times before it was any good. And so, he's the best of the best. So that's very telling. So I find that as I do more of these, I get in a rhythm, I get better, I fine tune, my confidence is up. I did four presentations in 10 days a week ago. And I just felt like I was in a rhythm there. So there's a whole piece of this rehearsal that's part of my leadership principles. The third one is rehearse for success. That is so key, Jackie. You get better and then you move up to higher engagements. I just wanted to punctuate, that's a key piece for me.
Well, I agree with you. And one of the things that I found is when I did my last book, which was the best spiritual book of the year at the International New Age Trade Show, it's called Practical Conscious Creation. When I did 100 interviews by phone on that, I went out to do my first live in-person interview. I was so much better because I had done it so many times on the telephone that when I presented in person, it just flowed. So yes, rehearsal is absolutely a key factor in the performance. No question. Good point. Thank you. So we're on to secret number 3, and that is having killer assets. Now, one of the first thing that happens when a speaker goes to book you, a speaker booker goes to book you, is they're going to go look at your website. And if you have a 10-year-old website, you're going to shoot yourself in the foot. Oh. You need to have a contemporary website in that horizontal design with large photos and limited text in the current contemporary style. And of course, you can send people onto your back pages for more information, but it has to look sexy. So, and you should also have a speaker page on your website as well, with, you know, great video where they see you presenting, and, you know, maybe your speaker one sheet, we'll talk about that in a second. But you really need to have a powerful, powerful website. That's number one. Number two, you have to have a speaker one sheet, which is a one-page or back to front document that defines who you are and why you're so fabulous, and what you are